Let's have a look at the chatbot. So up here, I have a bunch of different notes for the development of the app. So these are just a bunch of different features that I want to add and things like that. And these are handoff files. They're just MD files, .md files. I can sort of put them all together if I want to take a look at all the files together. And so this is a database of all the different things that I've been running into. And for this part over here, so I fed it this notes, I fed them into the LLM node. So this LLM node is sort of like a way to connect different LLMs into them. So in this case, I'm just using Deepseek, but I could also use whatever I plug in here. I can sort of set up like an API key, the different model in case I want to use OpenAI. In this case, I got Deepseek running on the background locally using Olama at this port. And so then I have a database, and the database node allows me to select different databases that I have set up. So in this case, I have this one, and in each database I have, so essentially I have this. So here I have the different database sort of directories and projects, and in there's a bunch of history and things like that. So then that way I can select which chat I want. So like that. I can ask it different questions. So in this case, I fed it all this data about all the different features, and then I prompted it with, here's actually, now I can see the path of the wires, and I prompted it to be sort of like a project manager. Here I can toggle different, just like a null or a different prompt, sort of like what I want the AI to do or focus on. In this case, I just want it to be a project manager. Now I can ask it a question. What do you think? So what do you think the next feature to implement would be? And now it's thinking. And it's now sending that information. It appended all the different tasks that I had listed under the notes, and sort of just processing it and thinking what tasks to do based on the prompt that I assigned it as a project manager. Here are different chats that it's done in the past. Once it's done, it will update it. These are sort of very generic answers that it gave. I don't think it had enough of a guidance of what to look for exactly. And that list is kind of a bunch of different features and things. There's not very good data input, but nevertheless, it did sort of give us an answer there. There's, see, it appended all the notes, and then it just went and gave us an answer. So let's see, a structure approach will help you successfully implement the level up system, adding depth. And so yeah, it's sort of give us a list and told us what it thought. But it's Deepseek, it's not as smart as OpenAI. It is running locally. And on our last video, we reviewed the librarian node, which we can give it a folder instead of a note like this. We can give it a bigger database and sort of use vectors to optimize the data and things like that. And we still have our image here. We can edit our images and load images. I also added this top menu here. We can go back and open recent workflows. That way we can manage our workflows better. So that one is loading, and we can save, we can have our settings. Here are our hotkeys. So we can customize our hotkeys. For example, if we go to our viewport here and we want to change a hotkey for the wireframe, put it to H. Now we have H, and when we save this, it just saves to the app. So now that's a permanent thing. We have debugging logs, and the help menu brings up a documentation file where we have, for example, all our hotkeys here, and just a bunch of documents, documentation about how the app works. So it's more like a user manual, pretty straightforward. Yeah, and that would be all the updates about the chatbot. It's more of like a chat style system, and we also updated the Python node. So in the Python node, now we have a console, and if we look at the code here, the code is syntaxed, and when we run it, we have a bit of a console here. This was just something that I run to optimize, to clean up some of the old thumbnails and things like that. And yeah, that's going to be all the updates for the chatbot and the DCC. Stay tuned for new updates. See you next time.